And it is the Bodacious Cowboy alongside my co-host Christy Knicha from Knicha Logistics. We're live from the BCS here in Fort Worth, Texas. So what do you think so far, Christy? It's your first one.
Oh, it's awesome. I think being able to meet all these different carriers, even other brokers, building a network, trying to find partnerships, I think it's been absolutely wonderful.
So what was the best thing that you've seen so far?
I really think it's the collaboration that I'm seeing where, last night we had tables set up and brokers got to meet with carriers that, either they were doing vans, reefers, flatbeds, kind of, getting with the groups that really matter to the brokers and carriers so you can find the right partnerships.
Right.
And I think sometimes I feel like carriers can be maybe a little intimidated to go up and talk to some of these brokers. At least I saw some of that last night, but once they were pushing that, it just got very comfortable for everyone.
So why do you think they're so tentative on going, if they're a broker going up to a carrier? What do you think is stopping them from doing that?
I think with some people, especially carriers, I feel like some of them that are smaller that are here have never been in an environment like this. There's not a whole lot of places. I think some of these carriers, most of the ones I've talked to, have gone to something like this where they can meet brokers and have relationships and build these partnerships. So I think it was really just being able to go up and have the conversation and not sure how that was going to go. But I saw just so much collaboration last night, and they made it a lot easier as they were really forcing everyone to go talk to the
Right.
people, get to these tables, and made it a lot better environment than everyone standing in a room and trying to get together.
So what kind of people or businesses did you meet so far since you've been here?
Obviously, there's tech companies here, there's insurance companies here, but I've met a lot of different brokers in a lot of different parts of the country I've never heard of, big ones, small ones. I've met some very small carriers that have one truck to two trucks, up to 1,400 trucks. So I think there's a good variety of different companies here in general that you could meet that might fit certain pockets of your business.
Yeah, and one of the things that I found which was really, really interesting is that the owner-operators, a lot of owner-operators came to the BCS down here in Fort Worth, and they were very engaged. They were looking for, work from small businesses to larger businesses. Did you have the chance to talk to any of those owner-operators?
Yeah, actually, I met one that's not only driving the truck, but he's dispatching and he's finding the freight. And what was really cool was he asked me how I grew my business. And even though I'm a broker, there's a lot of aspects that are the same in regards to, starting your business, growing your business. And then I obviously offered him, when we get back, give me a call and I'll give you some tips. There's a woman that owns his company, and he actually mentioned that she works a full-time job, and one of the struggles that they're having is just that in general. He's doing all this himself. So I'd like to sit down with both of them and talk about what they can do to make their situation better so they can grow, so he's not in the truck dispatching and trying to find the freight at the same time.
Yeah, and it's a shame that a lot of people here, unfortunately, they don't create a plan or work the plan or be the plan when they come in here. They're pretty much doing a lot of things ad hoc. How important is it to have a plan when you come to an event like this and trying to figure out a schedule to meet and greet? Like, how about yourself? Like, what do you look for when you come to an event like this?
Yeah, I think it's really knowing who's going to be there, especially when they send you the attendee list.
Yeah,
try to find the companies that you feel might be a fit for your organization or people that you just want to meet to ask them questions about their business and finding those fits. But then on top of that, I had some appointments, but also some people that wanted to meet with me and getting them on the schedule. But meeting other people and just walking up to them and meeting everyone that you can when you don't have them on the schedule as well. But trying to have that schedule set with several appointments each day is very important.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you wholeheartedly on that. But how about the sessions and how they are being played out? I mean, we got a lot of things that are going on here, a lot of tracks throughout the whole day, and then trying to find that window of opportunity to meet those type of people that you really want to meet and why you came here.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is when you go into these sessions, sitting with different people that you don't know or haven't already met. And then when you're going out to get a water or a coffee or something like that, then making sure you introduce yourself to a few more people as well.
Right.
In the hallways, going to the next event, really being intent on really just finding new people in the network. Even if it's just to find out what they do, they might not have. I mean, a lot of people that wouldn't maybe potentially help my business, but I can connect them with other companies that I think
Right.
could help them.
Yeah, absolutely. So, have you heard any gripes or complaints? Just talking, general conversations with whomever you might run into.
No, not necessarily. I really haven't heard that. I think in general, everyone seems to be really happy to be able to meet new people and network. And obviously, this is the biggest BCS event so far that they've had, and it's very encouraging to see this many people coming out.
Yeah, and I've been to three of them. This is my third one, of course, and you know the attendance growth is just absolutely unbelievable. When they started out in Indy in 2023, they had like 65 people that came to that event, and then went down to Tampa. It grew. I would say a good amount. They were up to like 135, 150. Then we went to Kansas City and it was 360. Here we are today in Fort Worth, crushing it at 485 attendees, pretty much equal on each side. Where you got, you have the carriers, you have the brokers out there. Carriers are actually outdoing the brokers here. So I think that's pretty amazing because it seems to me that carriers want to meet new brokers, to understand that side of the business. And what are your thoughts on that? What do you
Oh,
think?
I think it's exciting because at the end of the day, a lot of the carriers, they need help. They have capacity. What can you do to help me? And at the end of the day, we need help from carriers in areas where we need to move our freight. And that relationship is so important. And I think the other thing that's cool about moving around to different cities is there's a lot of carriers and or brokers that are from the Texas area.
Right.
But when you move around to the different areas, you're going to get people then from those different states and a different group of people. But you also might find that the people in the different states are traveling to the other ones as well to meet new people. And I think that is going to continue to grow as well.
Oh, absolutely. One of the biggest things here is what do you call it, truckparking.com. We didn't have that in the past here on the other events, but Evan, who actually started truckparking.com, has a parking area not too far from here, which gives those carriers, like you mentioned, the opportunity to take a break, come by, see what the BCS is all about. And have you talked to them? Did you have any cordial conversations with truckers that actually drove here to come to this event?
I have not happened to run into anyone who has yet, but we still have all day today and tonight and tomorrow. So hoping to run into some of those carriers. I think it's important that they know that we're on their side and we're here to help them as they need our help and we need their help. And it's really important that they show up and be a part of this.
Yeah, yeah. One of the reasons that I come to the BCS is twofold. One is that this is something that should have happened a long, long time ago, and it took the folks like Dan Lindsay and his board of directors to come together to put something like this. I mean, this is something that is so unusual. I mean, look, you go up and down here, you don't see any booths up here, nobody hard selling or anything. People are focused on developing relationships with carriers trying to develop relationships with brokers, try to understand how each other works. It's so critical in this industry, huh?
Oh, yeah, I agree 100%. There's obviously the ATA, the Trucking Association, and you tend to find a lot of carriers, truckers there, but you're not going to necessarily find brokers and events that brokers go to, like the TIA, where
Right.
you don't really find the carriers there, so to speak. I will say, though, this year was the first time I actually met several carriers because I think they started to find that, hey, this is another area I can go to meet brokers. And I'm encouraging the carriers that I see today and yesterday to go to that event as well, because again, we just have to come together as an industry because we move the world in transportation.
Ain't that the truth? Without the truckers, without brokers. Let's face it, the shippers need brokers, shippers need assets, we need carriers, and they're the ones that basically help us, and it's up to us to help them as well through thick and thin, the rough times. And we're going through one right now. The economy. I'm not preaching to the choir because I know that you know this and do a lot of intermodal from logistics, and we talked about that the other day, and just the things that are going on is just so crucial to get that to the other side, so you understand why we do the things that we do, and why, because there's carriers just don't understand that. They just think that it's all about profits. It's not about service. But once they get to talk to the real ethical ones like you and I,
Right.
they have a different perspective on, hey, you know what? There are good people out there. They do want to help. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think it's all about, carriers want consistent business, brokers want consistent business, marry those two together so that we can all be sustainable, successful, and just have more collaboration. And I think that that's the most important thing. Without the carriers, we can't do what we do as brokers. They're an extension of our companies to haul for our customers. And without the brokers, in some cases, the carriers, they don't have an avenue to go to. Sometimes they don't know where to go to if they don't go to a customer direct or have some issues there. So there's a real importance here, bringing us all together to collaborate, to help each other be successful when we're all trying to do the same thing here, which is move freight and make money.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is your first event that you came to at the BCS. What are you going to tell your partners and people that you do business with about the BCS and why they should attend?
I think the biggest thing is the fact that we are building these partnerships with carriers, that they know that when we're hauling their freight, we have these partnerships, we collaborate. They're not fly by night, one time, use carriers. It's so important that they know we have the same partnership and relationship with those carriers that we do with the customers, because at the end of the day, they trust us with their freight, which means we have to trust the carriers and build those partnerships so they do a good job for the customer.
Absolutely. Yeah. I agree with you wholeheartedly. So we talked a little bit about your perception of the BCS, and asked if you heard any complaints. Do you have any suggestions about what the BCS can do to level up or maybe add to what they have already? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Obviously, there's little things that they can tweak here and there for attendees. I think the biggest thing is the speed networking, which they've done a better job from what I hear this year, and really dividing up the services, right? Hey, carriers, that if you're van, go here to meet brokers and whatnot, but I think it has to be a little bit bigger there, as far as like the tables that they can sit at, which I think they said at lunch they're going to do that. But I think the other part is really making sure that everyone's here also advocating to their friends in the industry so that they come and attend and be a part of it. And I think everyone working together to make this bigger, I think, is really going to be something that needs to happen.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So what did you think about the speed dating event last night?
Oh, I absolutely loved it. I had carrier after carrier, and actually there was a couple intermodal carriers here.
There you go.
Yeah, they were looking for some other brokers here. I know there's a few with the intermodal. I don't know how many, but there's not a lot that I see here that I would know. But I think the coolest thing about that is, hey, I have some other contacts I can introduce you to. And then that ties you in closer with that partnership with that carrier. Even if they can't do much for me at this point, now I've helped them maybe with some other connections for them, and knowing that we're here not just for ourselves, to help them too. So I like that because I felt like it made it a better atmosphere for everyone to just go up and talk instead of randomly, interrupting a conversation to come up and say hi, which I did that quite a bit too.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I know Kinetra Logistics is heavy on the intermodal side. So do you think that intermodal carriers or service providers like CSX and Norfolk Southern, the UP, Kansas City Southern, just to name a few class ones, do you think that this is an event that those intermodal service providers should attend?
I think so. I don't know what they would think about it, but again, it's bringing the industry together because a lot of times the carriers are hauling their freight out of the rails. And I think one thing that they need to do is continue to listen to the carriers and still build that partnership and collaboration with the freight they're hauling out of their railroads so that they understand what their needs are and how can they help them as well. So it's extremely important.
Yeah, and the reason why I asked is that, there are some dray carriers here,
Yes.
representing, the port of Long Beach and LA and even Houston. And there was one gentleman that I spoke to who was from Florida. So, I mean, to open up the gates to work directly with the CSX or Norfolk Southern or any class one, I just think that it would be just another avenue for them to help each other. I mean, let's face it, not all shippers use brokers, right? They usually go to direct assets, but they will go to brokers, and same with dray carriers. They'll go to brokers. They'll also go directly to, you know, uh, the railroad and work directly with them. But I just think that it would be very advantageous if they just explore more on the intermodal side, because you're correct. There wasn't too many intermodal representatives here besides yourself.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think it's important. And I also met a port carrier out of New Jersey. So again, it's, some of that stuff we don't handle, but I know companies that I can connect them to. So even them coming here and meeting me, I think was really important. And some of the people on the board were bringing certain carriers to me because they knew
Sure.
what their need was.
Mhm.
And again, bringing everyone that's a stakeholder in this together, I think is so important to truly just focus on the collaboration and just getting to know people and how can we help each other because we're all in this.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what I noticed, and there's definitely a lot of people in that side of the business, IT, tools and stuff like that. I mean, wouldn't you agree there was a lot of IT people and people, even factoring companies that were here too?
Yeah, absolutely. Representing all different parts of the industry in case there's something that someone needs help on or didn't think about or something that existed. I can tell you some of the carriers I talked to are still doing some old school ways of doing business, and there's tools out there that can help them be more efficient, make more money. And again, a lot of times these carriers don't have that outlet to go to find these options.
Yeah, especially the way that the industry is moving forward. You want to work smarter, not harder, to do more in less time, right? And these
Right.
these tools are going to help you uh, to actually beat a lot of the competition out here, because not a lot buy those specific tools. I mean, that their specific needs, are for specific reasons, and not all tools are good for all brokers or even shippers. You agree with that, right? What you're saying?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I wanted to put a shout out to the fact that there's many carriers here that already talked about the fact they've hooked up with some brokers and are walking away with business opportunities.
Oh yeah.
And that's how this magic works here and how important it is to be here and connect, because if you're looking for business, this is where you can find business and opportunities by talking to these other brokers that are very diverse across the different areas in transportation in the country in general.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You got the small carriers out here, and then you got the mega carriers as well. You've got some carriers out there that are 100 strong with 1,800 trailers. So if you're in the dedicated kind of business, or if you're just looking for the spot market, you have all different kinds of carrier opportunities, especially like happening in a little bit. It's going to be lunch and learn. Where you're going to be able to go out and talk to all these different individuals and see, that side of the business, which is very important. Why the BCS is what it is, because they're trying to take things from out here to get them here, so that people understand how each other works, which is so critical to the business.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So super excited to continue to go throughout the day, meet more people, and continue to connect other people, because that's another thing. There's people pulling people in different directions, and you need to meet that person and this person. And I think that's the power of networking and all of us trying to help each other in different ways.
Yeah, no, I'll tell you what, I'm definitely backing the BCS. Like I said earlier, I think it's one of the best things that was way overdue. Dan and his board did a great job pulling everything together, creating an even larger board so they can touch other different areas within the industry to really start pulling those people in that mean a lot to each other on both the broker and carrier side. But you also have to take into consideration what would the shipper think about this BCS, and should shippers come to the BCS and collaborate directly with asset carriers or even brokers, or even try to create that long-term business relationship, which is so critical here, because a lot of people play the boards and they're here today and gone tomorrow. There's a huge difference between customers and clients. Customers are here today, gone tomorrow. Clients are the one are looking for the long haul, right? They want to be with you. They want to build that long-term business relationship. And that's what's going to happen when you come to BCS. There's so many opportunities where you have the ability to make that magical thing happen.
Yeah, and I agree with you. You brought up an interesting point in regards to shippers, because again, this is a way for them to interact with them in a different way that maybe they haven't in the past. And it doesn't mean you have to guarantee any kind of business, but get to learn some of the carriers that are out there so they can also work with them direct in some instances. And I think that that's something I continue to talk to the carriers that are here. Again, hey, we can do some business together, but these are ways that you can get into some of these customers direct. A lot of these shippers like to have assets in there direct. So
absolutely,
trying to build that out, I think, is extremely important.
So our time is running out. So what are your closing comments and your thoughts on this?
I would say that, if you're not here, you need to be here. If you're a carrier or a broker, doesn't matter what size, like I said, from one truck to, thousands of trucks. And it's important because you can find some partnerships and business that can build long-term opportunities in partnerships here. And same with the brokers that need the carriers to service their business in areas. So I think that it's extremely important for everyone to understand how important this conference is. It's something that, like you said, has been needed for a very long time, and just super excited to be a part of it.
Yeah, and I'll tell you right now, there's a lot of people out there that are suffering from FOMO. I've seen a lot of emails on that and everything. Don't suffer from FOMO. Get your butt down to a BCS, at the next event. Follow brokercarriersummit.com and look at the agenda. Look up future events that's going to happen. They're going to happen all over the country. There's really good things that are happening. So if you're not following the BCS, you really should. It's something that's, like I said earlier, something that needs to be done. And don't miss out. Don't suffer from FOMO.
That's right. Show up, be present, and work on your business. Have a voice.
Absolutely. So, Bodacious Cowboy here, along with my friend and co-host of the Empowering Women into Logistics, the Storytelling Chronicles. Appreciate it. We'll see you next time around. Peace out.
See ya.
See ya.